At some point in our childhood, we've all chased after shadows just for fun. A shadow is nothing but a dark shape that's produced when light is blocked by an object. It can be long and thin, or round and fat, depending on what time of day it is and how the sun is shining. He was an experienced hunter who had dedicated his entire life to tracking and killing animals. He knew every single trick in the book, every single way to lure, trap, and kill prey, both big and small. Throughout his life, he had killed everything from birds and fish to lions and bears. From then until now, there have been hundreds of sightings of these enormous creatures. While the vast majority of people believe that they are extinct, there are still those who claim to have seen one. There were two sets of tracks, a large one from the mammoth and a smaller one from another animal. He grabbed his bow and arrow and crept closer to the cave, ran until his lungs were burning and his legs were heavy with fatigue. Finally, he stumbled and fell. When they saw the dead mammoth, they cheered and celebrated. If you want to hear more stories like this, make sure to stay tuned. We have plenty of exciting tales to share with you, including more about ancient hunters and their daring adventures. What did you think of the story? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about ancient hunters and their techniques, we recommend checking out the additional resources we have linked in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Otrith had brought home the greatest prize of all. Otrith's son was so proud of his father that he named his firstborn son Mammoth in his honor. As for Otrith, he lived out the rest of his days as a hero, telling stories of his adventures to anyone who would listen. The mammoth loomed over him, its hot breath on his neck. In a panic, he grabbed his knife and lunged at the creature. The mammoth trumpeted and swiped at him with its tusk, but he managed to dodge its attack and cut deep into its leg. The mammoth collapsed and died. With a final roar, Otrith stood up, exhausted but victorious. He had finally done it. He had slain the mammoth. Peeking inside, he saw the mammoth drinking water. Its thick skin was covered in dirt, and its tusks were stained with blood. But it seemed to be calm now, and Ati knew that he had to strike before it became agitated. He drew back his arrow and let it fly. The mammoth roared and charged. Out Ati ran for his life. Whatever this other animal was, it had managed to escape the mammoth's grasp. If it could do that, then maybe he could too. With a renewed sense of confidence, Otrith followed the tracks and soon came across a watering hole. Here the ground was soft and the prints were difficult to follow. Otrith scanned the area and noticed a faint trail leading into a cave. Otrith didn't know if these stories were true or false, but he had to find out for himself. It took him weeks to reach the area where mammoths were said to roam. He followed rivers, streams, and trails, always keeping an eye out for signs of life. As he traveled further and further north, the weather grew colder, and snow began to fall. Still, Odi continued on his quest, refusing to be deterred. Nothing was safe from his deadly arrows. For years, his skills as a hunter had provided food for him and his family, and were a respected part of his community. In the distance, he saw a mammoth. It was even bigger and more terrifying up close. He quickly set up his camp and hid, hoping that the creature wouldn't notice him. All night he listened to the mammoth lumbering around, occasionally trumpeting loudly. In the morning, when the creature had moved on, Otrith cautiously left his hiding spot and went to look for tracks. He found huge footprints and felt a surge of excitement. He was finally going to get his hands on one of these monsters. But now he was tired. He wanted something new and exciting. In this story, we'll be following the steps of an ancient hunter who was chasing something much more sinister than just a simple shadow. He was getting too old for hunting common game, so he would hunt something truly special, a creature of legend, the mammoth. It was said to have thick gray skin, tusks like swords, and was the size of 5 men stacked on top of each other. To say that such a creature was terrifying was a horrific understatement. And though Otrith was the best hunter that his village had ever seen, he was afraid. But excitement got the better of him, and soon he packed up his things and started his journey. This is Chasing Shadows, the untold life of an ancient hunter. This is the story of a man who went by the name Uthred. After reading many stories from travelers who visited far-off lands, he decided to embark on his own adventure. These included weapons, food, warm clothes, water containers, cooking supplies, a tent, and anything else that he might require while he was gone. It wasn't just food that he needed to take with him, of course. You see, he was going on an expedition. and there was no telling how long he would be gone for. There was also the fact that his wife, children, and other members of his community would need to be fed while he was away. So he spent weeks gathering enough provisions for everyone. Once he was sure that his supplies would last, he set off to hunt the mammoth. Before setting out into the wild, Otris gathered everything that he would need to survive and to hunt. The mammoth was first described by humans as far back as 33,000 BC. Finally, one evening as he was making camp, he saw something that made his heart skip a beat. But before he could follow the tracks, he noticed something strange. Odie knew that he needed to find the mammoth before it did any more damage. As he fled, he could hear the mammoth crashing through the underbrush behind him. He dragged the carcass out of the forest and back to his village. The people were stunned. We hope you enjoyed this story about the brave hunter who dared to take on the mighty mammoth.